All right, before I hit stop, I'll just say this real quick and while it's recording, and then if we want to use this as the cold open, we can. But I just want to preemptively apologize to everyone listening today because Tim and I are quite sick. Tim is probably in the throes of it, whereas I'm coming down from it. So if our energy is low and we sound like absolute death, we apologize, and we promise we're very happy, and we really enjoyed doing this for you today. So please be nice to us. Thank you.
Welcome to the Cables to Clouds podcast, your one-stop shop for all things hybrid and multi-cloud networking. Now, here are your hosts, Tim, Chris, and Alex.
Hello, and welcome back to your Cables to Clouds fortnightly news episode. My name is Alex Perkins. I am at Bumps in the Wire on socials. I am joined today by two sick co-hosts, Chris Miles at BGP Maine and Tim McConaughey at Juan Golbez. We are going to jump right in, and I will try to keep the energy high for you guys. So let's get started with the mandatory AI news. We've got an article here from Reuters called OpenAI co-founder Sutzgever's new safety-focused AI startup, SSI, raises $1 billion. Now, Sutzgever is Ilya Sutzgever. We've talked about him quite a bit on this show. He was one of the OpenAI co-founders. He was on the board of OpenAI. He was instrumental in all the Sam Altman drama when he got fired and then brought back. And he eventually left the super alignment team, which is basically a safety team for artificial intelligence, and ended up founding this new company called SSI, which I believe stands for Safe Superintelligence. They just closed a Series A for $1 billion. That is absolutely ridiculous. I saw some estimates. They didn't give out a valuation, but the quote in this article is that people, close to the matter, in quotations, is they're valued at around $5 billion currently. This company has 10 employees right now. 10. Okay. So this is absolutely nuts. And we talked about this, I don't know, I think within the last month about, all these new safety regulations that are going to be popping up. And there was something I called out about a requirement to have a third party company kind of be used for verifying like models and stuff like this. And I'm guessing that's what this whole thing is about, is that they're kind of getting a very early jump on being that third party for all these different AI companies. So they could make a lot of money, I guess. Who knows with AI? It's been a lot of fun watching these markets go. So I will stop talking here. What do you guys think?
This might be just my pure ignorance, but obviously they're coming in as super safe intelligence, or safe super intelligence. Got it backwards. Safe super intelligence. It's funny to me to think that they're getting evaluations this high and getting funding this high, when it seems to me like their whole model is to just kind of counteract the other side of it. Like AI is obviously pushing innovation and changes with the way it's doing things, and then they're coming in just say we're actually going to halt a bit of that and slow it down.
Slow down.
And so it's crazy that there's that much funding in going in the opposite direction when this thing hasn't really even shown that it has true ROI yet. We've seen that from many other companies that are even pulling out of their AI adoption so far. So, I mean, like I said, that might just be my pure ignorance on the matter, and I don't know where this fits in, but it seems almost like it's getting funding to like kind of stop it in its tracks in a way before it can even really become profitable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, a $5 billion valuation for a company that doesn't have any sort of product. It's more like an idea, right? We're going to create a product that will in some way enforce some kind of safety framework.
They don't even have compute.
There's no
nothing.
detail of any kind about what they're going to do. How will they make models safer? They raised $1 billion. I mean, I would be like, you know what? There's 10 of us, 100 million per person. Let's go ahead and close up shop and move on.
Absolutely.
I would be done. That would be good enough for me, man. Sorry, we couldn't make it work, guys. Goodbye. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say to that. $5 billion of valuation is absolutely insane. There's no product. There's no details. The $5 billion in valuation is just on the guy, pretty much. Like, that's the only thing.
It's on Ilya.
Yeah, that's the only thing tied to it.
Yeah, I mean, this company is only 3 months old, too. So... Now it says that with the 1 billion, the plan is to, what did it say? Basically to hire top talent and start building out their compute that they need. But again, like you don't have anything there's nothing, there's no plan. They don't have anything currently. So it's just,
well, I'll tell you, based on their current funding, they can, if anyone from there is listening, they can hire me for a measly $10 million out of all their funding. So hit me up.
There you go.
I'll put my phone number in the show notes.
The only other thing before we move on, I wanted to call this out. The investors, there's something really interesting here. So there's this group or an investment partnership called NFDG, and it's run by the guy who is CEO of SSI. How is this legal? Isn't like I would immediately think that can't be legal.
Is it a VC firm? Because if so, that actually kind of makes sense, right?
It's an investment partnership.
It sounds like a VC, but maybe who knows what that actually looks like. It sounds like basically he went to whoever else was in his partnership and say, "Hey,
invest in us,
invest in this." So yeah.
So all right, yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy. All right, up next, we got an article from the Register titled Cloud Buyers Regret. Now, you can imagine just from the title what this is about. And the headline of the article says, admins wonder if the cloud was such a good idea after all. It looks like, so this report was published by UK cloud outfit SIVO, which I don't know a whole lot about them. I kind of looked at their page real quick, and it seemed like they are very much in the game of cloud finances. So of course, I don't want to say that it's going to be a super biased report, but it's going to be a little bit biased towards, the information that these guys are trying
financial information.
Yeah. I mean, Tim, you got any thoughts here? I know we've been talking about cloud costs forever. So,
I mean, how long ago was it now that we did this, that episode about where are all the cloud savings? I feel like it's been over a year.
Yeah,
at
probably
this point,
at least a year.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing it was when we said it that long ago. This article, by the way, they get into the details of like basically how much. I forget how they do it. They like put it together. They put together a bundle of like compute and storage, block storage and whatnot. And they say basically it costs like $1,000 or $1,200, and basically the price keeps going up, outstripping even inflation. So, despite the fact that everybody was told the cloud would become cheaper as it becomes more commoditized, and more people using it means they can spread the savings and all that, it's actually only getting more expensive. And I think that goes back to the whole thing we were talking about, and the same thing we came to, the same thing we thought about in that episode, which is really the cloud providers can't actually make it cheaper, right? Because they're just going to end up DDoSing everybody, right? If you make it so cheap, then you'll have everybody doing it, and they don't have the capacity. So I think they are artificially keeping the numbers high.
Yeah, and for reference, they said the configuration they used is a 3-node cluster with 200 gig persistent volume and 5 terabytes data transfer. Chris, you got any thoughts here?
Was it just in? Oh, that was in Azure. But
they did all of them. They did all the big three. They did the big three.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they factored into like a real world scenario. That seems good. But like, I don't understand. Like SIVO, like the article calls out the beginning that the survey unsurprisingly paints SIVO in a flattering light. Like what do they have to gain in this situation? Did you guys extract
I
any of
didn't
that?
really understand that either. I'm like, what
Okay.
is this? What is this
Yeah.
FinOps company? Maybe I'm not.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not
that's what
sure.
doesn't make sense, right? If people leave the cloud, what isn't that their business model to help companies like save money in the cloud? So
Yeah, I don't quite
yeah, it
get
is a
that
little
one.
weird of a sentence. But it's
Yeah.
funny because a lot of these they said they used like the CSP's calculators for this.
Right. But yeah, not much to add. I think like I said, we kind of called this probably close to a year ago now that the savings were kind of not necessarily like a bait and switch, but it's just like now they're at the point, like you said, with capacity and things like that. I just don't think they can do it. It'll run itself over very quick.
Yeah, they'll end up DDoSing everybody else as they get more and more customers if the price comes down. So, yeah, totally.
Like Azure keeps doing in there.
I mean, that's true. I just saw an email from one of our customers saying had requested a quota increase for a certain family in
I saw
Europe,
that too.
and it got denied. So they can't even use that family in Europe now because of the capacity problems. All right, so we got another story. This one's from Broadcom, our favorite whipping boy. So this one is so Broadcom's just had its earnings done, just finished the earnings report, and apparently the shares are kind of slumping because the revenue, the forecast, basically the revenue forecast from Broadcom is down. And of course, when you're a company of like Broadcom size, any movement ends up giving you like some sticker shock here. But the real reason for this, I think the article says like it's lost $73 billion in value, which, that looks great on paper, but nobody's actually out there spending $73 billion. The reason is because the forecast for like kind of the demand and delivery of their AI, chips that they're building, they have certain AI ASICs and chips that they're building. I guess the demand for it isn't as high as they kind of initially thought that it would be. And this I've actually seen. This is just another facet of something I've seen, which is a lot of companies, after jumping into the AI thing, try like, oh no, we have to do this to be competitive, are kind of realizing that like actually no, we kind of chasing, kind of chasing nothing here. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah. Right. So they forecasted an increase in AI chips of $1 billion over the fiscal year. And that just wasn't enough to please the investors. So that's why they sold off. They lost 10% of their shares.
Share
Basically. They were
value,
down 10%. Just crazy.
You're their size. When you're Broadcom size, $1 billion is probably a drop. It's like Cisco, right? It's like it means nothing, right?
Yeah. I mean, what Broadcom's like $700 billion company. Like
they have to be they'd have to be over 700 billion.
Yeah.
So 10%, 73 billion. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I mean that we're talking about 73 billion that they lost in market value, right? So that's all perceived value. It's not even real at this point. But I mean, Broadcom's not necessarily known for being a risk taker. So I could see them making some cuts in certain areas because of this. Yeah, I mean, I think this just kind of leans back to what we're talking about, the AI ROI thing. But nobody's really seeing it come to fruition yet. And if anyone's gonna probably swing the axe, I'd say it'd be Broadcom. But like we were talking about this before we started hitting record, like Tim, like yes, this caused a slump. Their stock price probably dropped a bit, but it'll come right back. Like it's
the stock market only goes up.
Yep, exactly. All right. So next up, we have an announcement. We don't necessarily have an article here, but we do have an announcement from HashiCorp that they have finally launched the first version, I believe, of their. I'm assuming this means they're going to have multiples, but there's a Terraform professional certification that's coming out. And we wanted to cover this because I think when we had Chris Williams on the show, he was talking about this a bit. So it's kind of cool to see this finally coming to fruition. So they've put out this certification called the Terraform Authoring and Operations Professional, and I believe this one is specifically targeted at AWS. So it covers a domain, and this is a lab-based exam, still online proctored, but we're talking a 4-hour test here with a 15-minute break. So we're thinking you're really going to be in the weeds, like building, and as it says in the name, authoring Terraform. So you're probably building things from scratch. You're probably using the Linux shell and building YAML and JSON, et cetera, right? So this seems like a pretty all-in comprehensive test. So I'm actually kind of excited to see something like this on the market from them, because I think we talked about this on the show. The Terraform Associate, I think all of us have probably taken it here on the show, or Alex hasn't, but me and Tim have. I think Tim will probably agree with me. It's a little too easy, if I'm being honest. I felt like it was, if you had any day-to-day operations with Terraform, it was pretty simple, but pretty cool to see them put this out. And I think the early registration is already up for it. And I believe if you register now, I think it includes a free retake as well. So it might be actually a good time to get in and try it. But yeah, how do you guys feel about this?
I think it's awesome, man. I love lab-based exams because it's not trivia. Like you need to know it, right? But like you don't need to sit there and memorize timers and ABCD like questions, right? Like you just have to get in there and do the thing. So yeah, a 4-hour exam though, that's crazy. Like I love it. I mean, I haven't taken an exam that long since I did my CCIE, right? So it just sounds cool.
It's the mini CCIE of
so it's half the time, right? It's half the time, but still 4 hours is 4 hours though.
They do not provide you Jason's Deli when you take this.
Oh, is that what you had? You had
Jason's every Deli? Time. I don't know if you noticed. I took it many times. It was Jason's Deli 90% of the time.
Yeah, well in RTP you had we had you took it at least once in RTP, right? We had David Blair there, and he had like the hot sauce collection, and they had it catered from the cafeteria or whatever.
No, I think we had Indian food like one time in RTP, but every other time it was Jason's Deli. It was abysmal. It was so depressing.
Oh man. I also agree. This is awesome. As someone who has not taken any kind of long lab exam like this, I love the idea, because what better way to show your skills than an actual practical hands-on lab exam? And Chris, like you were saying, there is a blueprint on this page, and it's exactly that. Like you're building out a module, you're like configuring remote state. I'm just looking at some of the basic stuff in here, but it's like, it's even saying, you Terraform apply, Terraform destroy, like you're actually going in and building out an entire environment. So
yeah, it's very cool.
I think this is awesome. The only thing I don't like is that there's to renew this, you have to retake the exam. That's it. Yeah. That's the only thing that I think they need to look into changing.
Oh, did they say how long is it? 2 years?
It's 2 years, yeah. 2 years,
so I don't know, 2 years. Yeah,
you have 2 years to give feedback and get them to change that before you have to take it again.
Yeah,
that is a long exam to have to take every 2 years. But I like the idea of doing it at least once. Obviously,
I mean, to be honest, I bet if you're that in the weeds with Terraform and you're doing that stuff every day, I bet take that long. I bet that would be easy for you, like building a module. But that was
4
the thing
hours is very generous.
Those were the things I felt was missing from the first exam. So I feel like it'd be easy to show that you're a adequate Terraform user in that scenario.
I mean, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the actual task list would not take somebody who would, is the candidate to pass that exam would not actually take them 4 hours.
True.
Well, I mean, Chris, when you retook the associate, you just went and took it, right? It wasn't like,
yeah, I didn't study.
yeah.
Just
So maybe it'll be similar. I mean, it's through $295, I think $300. So that's not bad
not for a 4 hour lab exam.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, Cisco specialty exam is more than that. So
yeah,
that's less than $100 per hour. That's
there
really
you
getting
go.
your money's worth there. All right, last one for today. So as always, we try to squeeze in a new fun article that won't piss anyone off. So today we are offering a new industry term that has come to the light. We are now talking about microclouds, apparently. So we have an article here today from IT Pro Today, bringing up this concept of microclouds being the next big thing in cloud computing, or just another edge strategy. And I'm not necessarily shitting on the article very much. It's just like I do find it crazy that we're talking about another term, especially like this. So once they break down like what is a microcloud, it's really ready to use server clusters outside of traditional data centers. And the more you read about it, you're like, why is this called something different? This is just edge computing, right? This is pretty much cut and dry edge computing. And then later in the article, it says, if microclouds sound a lot like edge computing, that's because they are. So they kind of relate back to, I guess, Canonical actually launched a product that was called microcloud. So that's, I don't know if they're leading in on that branding or what have you, but yeah, how do you guys feel? How soon before we switch to a microcloud networking podcast?
I hate this so much.
Yeah.
This is the worst article I've read in a long time about the cloud. Why? We don't need a new term. And if microcloud was a thing, this isn't it. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like you said, it's eventually the whole point is, if this sounds like edge computing, it's because it is. Yep. This is nothing new. Somewhere I saw that maybe they offer some kind of software to interface with this pre-built cluster, but what is that software? Because I doubt that it's a cloud management interface like a AWS console or Azure. It's nothing like that, or they would have called that out in the article. So I hate this article, and I wish it was never written.
I don't think it's the fault of the people that wrote the article necessarily, because they might have the more I read the article, the more I think that maybe they have the same feeling. I think they're just reporting on like this thing that we're calling microcloud with a lowercase m, as opposed to microcloud with the uppercase M, which is the Canonical product. But yeah, I mean, so I went through this entire article like 3 times trying to understand what made this microcloud versus just edge computing, or really just, like an MSP type of offer where a managed service provider just builds your servers for you and then you can consume them. It's basically the same shit, right? There's literally nothing in here that says this is a cloud. This is a cloud product because XYZ, just like you can do in cloud. Like there's none of that, right? There's nothing, there's no interface, like you said. There's no consumption model. I can't even see the consumption model being the same. Like I don't know where they get off using the word cloud. It's just edge computing or somebody else building your servers, pre-built servers for you, like MSP. So yeah, this is ridiculous. We're getting too many damn marketing terms.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's written, I question if at some point it's like prepackaged Kubernetes clusters that are running specific types of services, and maybe I could maybe see that being something that's consumable in a very quick way that's different than edge computing. I don't know if it's worthy of calling it a completely different, product necessarily, or environment even in that case. But I don't even know that that's what I can extract from this. That's just me trying to see glass half full, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
And even if you take that, Chick-fil-A has in all their stores, they have deployed Kubernetes clusters. Is that a microcloud that was by a different company? Like,
Yeah. Go in there and order the microcloud.
yeah, I just don't get it.
Want the microclouds with cheese, please?
And they'll say, what do the Chick-fil-A people say? My pleasure. My pleasure.
I haven't been inside a Chick-fil-A in so many years, dude.
Oh, dude. You don't know about the my pleasure thing?
I don't. Or I don't remember. It's been probably 10 years since I went inside of a Chick-fil-A.
I think it's like a rule. Every time you say thank you, they have to say my pleasure. It's
got it.
They must get like 30 lashings if they don't, because they do it every time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The only thing I can see that's different is with edge infrastructure or edge computing, the idea is that you would build it and own it. I guess that's the idea, is that you like an IaaS play. And this is more like a PaaS play where they're going to build the servers for you. Like that's the only thing that I can see that's even slightly different.
But yeah. And then if you look at this from the opposite direction, like the CSPs, as they push out, like AWS has Outposts. Yeah. That's not a microcloud. That's an extension of AWS, right?
That's called Cloud Light.
Yeah, Cloud Light.
Yeah.
It's smaller cloud.
Yeah.
We need a stratification. We need like 8 different sizings of cloud before we're done.
Yeah, somebody needs to get a diagram.
Super mega diet cloud to go, please.
Super size me.
I can't wait till they start doing the Monopoly game with the cloud offerings, so you can get all the little pieces, you know?
Oh, geez.
I love it. All right. Well, with that, I think we are going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in today. If you liked what you heard or saw, please, subscribe, like, share this around to all your friends. Tell them about how awesome the show is and how Chris and Tim stuck it out, even though they were both sick. So thanks guys. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Hi, everyone. It's Alex. And this has been the Cables to Clouds podcast. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe to us in your favorite podcatcher, as well as subscribe and turn on notifications for our YouTube channel to be notified of all of our new episodes. Follow us on socials at Cables2Clouds. You can also visit our website for all of the show notes at cablestoclouds.com. Thanks again for listening, and see you next time.